when it comes to professionals, the professionals that work together within our holistic, mystic, and mental health community are the ones who know about yoga, mindful, and spiritual practices, being able to optimize and support a person's inner and outer well being. But we also together know about the trauma stuff that we talked a little bit about and that we keep talking about. And so that's the perfect blend, is when you have professionals who care and who stay informed. They don't stop learning, and they also don't dismantle or discredit mysticism and spirituality or sciences, okay? So they bring it together. They know that those who don't understand mysticism and our true sciences will be welcoming and not ridiculing or gossiping or cynical or any of that. The sciences that do ridicule, gossip, and call names, like the 4D collective that call us names in 3D. So this is where we don't mind the calling of the names, because we're not into what we do as people, whole selves for one. So a healthy self-worth person has forgiveness and expansion in mind. So whenever you're interacting with anyone, even if it's a gossiper who is a facade of themselves and a victim, blamer, martyr, superior, so they're an insecure person who's vibing at a very low frequency, we don't demonize, we don't talk about it as Lucifer, it's not that. We have not only the Michael Stone evil scale of 1 to 22 or 24, they all need therapists, but anyone who has adaptive child patterns of behavior and maladaptive, they need therapy. They don't need us. They need to take themselves seriously. So this is where, whether they're a professional, you'll notice who the facades are, okay? And you'll notice who the people are. So they can use all of the words they want. It won't be someone that we will treat with hostility or disrespect. We'll do our best to deal with it in the most appropriate way possible, and then I'll create awareness. And it is because we have this self-worth that is in the presence that we can do this, and also we like expanding. Okay, so ignorant comments don't have us be reactive. They don't have us bow down in shame or change how we're coming forth. If anything, they give us the opportunity to use our prefrontal cortex to recalibrate and to continue engaging in the situation. So the future is full of expansion of consciousness, life, and love, and oneness. That's number one of how I wanted to just chit-chat a little bit more about how, you can make the most of mindfulness, mindset practices, and how loving all people with that unconditional love, flaws, imperfections, and that allows you to keep on enjoying the day-to-day. Obviously, we want to surround ourselves with the emotional, mental, and physical intelligence, well-being people, because that's where there's going to be expansion and there's going to be that blissfulness. But, you won't always have only those individuals. So when you come across people that will, let's say, break your heart, okay? The breaking of the heart. I know that a lot of individuals have these on their mind when it comes to spirituality and mysticism. So like the twin flame journey, you will hear of people talking to you about it as tragedy. And that's because those people, they don't take note of their own attachment category and or style and go get their whole self on board. It's also why the ones who are the coaches are talking about some of us being bad psychologists, because they say twin flame is not about your inner child work. Sure, that's great, but it's not about that. It's the soul work. So they're separating your soul work with the inner child work. And this is, to me, a professional who is afraid of losing clients versus understanding the bigger picture. And that's simply because they're with a blinder on, where they've closed up that twin flame journey. They've made it into not only a product that they're offering, but they know they can find benefit for you with it. They've had success, okay? But here's where, if they were a person who is still expanding, they wouldn't be addressing it necessarily with that tone and with that mannerism. They wouldn't call other twin flame coaches. So in this case, they're really dissing, if you will, the competition. or they're just doing them. It doesn't even matter. But to a professional like me, I find it humorous and also childish and also of an insecure person, because you're and of a niche market in a way, versus you caring about the people you're coaching because of what they're going through. So I find that there can be other ways you can expand your knowledge and share your knowledge, and essentially draw in. So that's just a side analysis. But also, the other part of this one is you can't own any person's spirituality or soul journey. So, one coach, for example, I'm just saying, would be, if they're humble, and this 5D mystic that I talked about, although it doesn't have to be 5D, but 5D because Christ consciousness again, so connected. I'm a channeler. I'm an Akashic record reader. I'm a mystic, full on in there. I don't like to use labels, but I am knowing that that is what I have, the best word that can share with you this spirituality business stuff in the mystic way. So this other human being is only one out of the many that will consider themselves a spirituality leader, guru. So that, again, we're all using different titles, and it's humorous when you find people who don't know how to get to know you first, get to ask questions on social media. I just see a lot of people that have this, the way that they interact with content. It's full of this. And remember, I read to you, I'll read it again so you can understand the difference. I'm a whole self. I always have been. I didn't have rupture. And anybody who has a whole self, they're not going to be using this when they're online. They're not going to be full of criticism. They don't have an inner critic, outer critic. They're doing outer curiosity, inner curiosity. So a healthy self-worth person, who might be a mystic or not, they're the ones who are going to like Maria's content, because they're not only the ones who are going to benefit from yoga, mindfulness, but also they're the ones who are already doing stuff like this. And it's also all people who know about how mental health professionals work with us, the good ones, not the ones who are doing the same thing this person and other people are doing, which I have seen. I've seen those who they are not, they discredit without even knowing what we do. They will ridicule my tarot, my Akashic record readings, as well as my channeling. And I don't mean ridicule in a way of making, I don't give a shit. They ridicule it, meaning they minimize, meaning that they devalue, meaning that they have a insecure gut that has the audacity, like this one other dude on screen. There's never been a medium ever, and this is a science man who has all these lovely little certificates, and you can tell he means it. I'm thinking, wow, that's amazing. And then I remember what true scientists are, and it's not him. It's the smart people who don't do anything like that. So you will know, if you're a empowered whole self, you're going to know instinctively when you meet an insecure person. That's why there's no devil, Lucifer, demon in the way that they talk about. When I came to terms with it, I told God, I said, I don't see the monster, but I know what I'm supposed to do if I ever see this monster. I still haven't met the monster. In fact, the people who are that to me, I know what their role is. Yeah, I know their role. So they can keep being the 7 of 14 charming. Yeah, Peter Pan with lost boys, lost girls, lost they. They usually will wear fancy suits. They wield their words really nice. Yeah, superheroes, supervillains, saving people from each other. Sure you are. They even like to use Lucifer all the time. So I know when people are doing this little bit of, I don't find it intelligence. 7 to 14, they manipulate because they can, because they got people who don't go and take themselves to a good therapist to get their inner child to become whole, and they don't believe in the first 3 years of your life mattering. And so when you say, I find it hard to believe that my first 3 years of life, why are you talking to me about implicit memory? Why are you talking to me about trauma? I don't need to talk to you about anything. Keep on following all those human beings in fancy suits. Watch how much I care about that. So for me, Maria, when I hear any person saying, there's never been, I'm sure, yeah, I don't find it impressive. I don't find it monstrous. I find it ridiculous. And the people who follow them, I find that even more ridiculous. But then I say, shh. If you can't say something nice, say nothing. And God comes in. Yeah, I got it. I'm going to be humble. So here's where, again, on page 212, Fully Secure, Jessica Fern, she shares with us, she's awesome, how in her practice she sees that regardless of a person's starting point, all of those with insecure attachment styles need support with knowing themselves better. And what I find out from people like Terry Real is that the adaptive child part is all about their self. They think they're right already, and then they continue to make it all about them, and they follow people because they're all the blamers, martyrs, superiors, the codependent ones. I find that one out from Patrick Tiahan. So they'll look mesmerized, and they will stay in pseudo-aliveness. In fact, they'll look mesmerized like this at their shaman leader. As I've had stories, so many people telling me stories, and I'm like, wow, you just told me something that I saw in El Dorado. And you're supposed to be a shamanic what? Wow, your expertise. I know you know a lot of more things than I do, but I think you just believed what you saw was something called, yeah, I've had people in my energy sphere. It's not what happened. I didn't be like, oh, I was like, get the fuck away from me. What are you doing? And they're like, come on, Maria, stop being crazy. I think you're right. I may be crazy, but it may just be a lunatic you're looking for. No, you may be wrong. I may be. So that lovely song, Billy Joe. He's really awesome, and I love it. You may be right. So, who wants a wild thing? No, 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 no. Make my heart sing. But no, you have to. No, I'm joking right now, okay? But I love that song. I love a lot of songs. Make everything. So here's the thing, FYI. Empowered people, yeah, they don't not text you back. Women and men, please remember. Empowered human beings, yes. Let's just remind people they don't do any of the insecure business. They don't do any of gossiping, not in the way that the low self-esteem individual who dates and has people treat them like pieces of shit. I see them all over the place. Not funny at all. No, but when you try and warn them, this is what they say. How dare you? How dare you talk about the person who's treating me just the way that I need to be treated, like a piece of shit. Wow, okay, you know what? I'm going to let you go, and I will leave it alone. So I've had things like that happen. One of my friends, I told you stories. Yes, my friend. I love my friend. I didn't talk to him for 5 years, and I didn't even do any of that. I just said, hey, you are still recuperating from a very recent breakup. Don't you think you might want to wait until you're ready? You have an Achilles heel, my friend. And I told him this, and my friend didn't listen to me. And so, long story short, though, my friend to this day, there are moments where say, it makes it sound like you think you know everything, Maria. Well, I don't know everything, I tell my friend, but I do know some things. I know healthy self-worth, my dear friend. But you don't do the, fucking, drugging, and drinking, so you don't have a good time. No, I have a good time. And in a better way. I think you need to reconsider and reevaluate what you're talking to me about. No, but I think you know what? It's okay, my friend. I love you. And that's it. You leave it alone. You leave it alone. So, people with insecure attachment, they need guidance in connecting more with their authentic needs. Yeah, not the drinking, fucking, or drugging business. My friend doesn't do that anymore because, thank goodness, he got a woman that doesn't do any of that. And also, he doesn't have the money anymore. So, I'm very happy to know that he got poor, and that's a good thing. And in the future, he won't be poor. And then when I told him what he is in the future, my future life, he's like, yeah, that is me. I'm like, I know that is you. Go figure, huh? And guess who betrays us? I tell my friend, because, you see, he has a friend of his. Yes, his friend is the same friend that didn't give a shit that my friend was vomiting at home, which is where it's a long story. But anyways, people with insecure attachment, they need guidance in connecting more with their authentic needs, preferences, and desires instead of defaulting into their more reflexive and secure defense mechanisms. Yes. They need techniques to work with that inner critic to get out of it. Yes. Also to enhance their inner nurture. Yeah. Also to learn self-compassion, reparent themselves, and then also practice self-attunement and learn how to truly self-regulate and self-soothe rather than turn to distractions. Yep, like my friend, deflection. Yes, he did that too. Or avoidance. Yes, so they definitely can become their own inner safe haven and secure base people. But if they don't want to, guess who's going to tell them what to do with their life in fancy suits and have the capacity to wield their words in such a way that they're going to say, I want to follow that person. Okay, so yeah, all the same people who don't take going to good mental health professionals seriously and becoming a whole self. So you can do spiritual bypassing, which is where you're going to find the ones who tell you bullshit statements like, don't go to therapy, come to me. No, please don't listen to those people. Good therapist is really important, because as long as you have not learned how to self-soothe with self-compassion and have a whole self, you're going to be one of those manipulable people by the 7 to 14 charming again and again and again. Now, obviously, you don't need to believe me. And in fact, like my friend, he didn't believe me. So my friend went on to do exactly the opposite of what I shared with him. I'll use the story. Okay, and so here's what a person like me can tell you all about people. That my friend is only one of the many stories I have, but he's a good story for me to use. Okay, so it really incorporates all of the same stories. When you're doing Dharma, and that's me, and you do know, so even without clairs, so I didn't have clairs yet with my friend. So let's see, which part of the story should I share? And I love my friend to death, so we ended up becoming friends again once he was really in the shithole, because he has no friends except for me and now the person he's building his life with, because he's a person who has not tended to his childhood wounds. In fact, the part about what people choose and how far they want to go in their expansion of consciousness journey is theirs. So I won't expand too much. Okay, so one, again, you're going to make the most of yoga, mindfulness, and everything self-help related from here to anywhere when you have a whole self. Please be remembering this one is very important, as you might not tune back in here again. If you also, please, will take note, forgiveness is important, not because you have to believe in Jesus or God, no, because if you don't know how to process what happens to you, then you won't know how to truly be a whole self. So you have all your parts, and that means that if somebody says, you know, I know you told me that you want to be accepted and unconditionally loved exactly as you are, Maria, but I'm going to say you need to change. There's something wrong with you. I don't like you at all. You know what? I'm going to unsee you completely. I won't text you back. I won't talk to you. So I'm going to give you an extreme, exaggerated, just bringing it all together, because these are things, little here, little there. I laugh at all of it because, you know, I learned again as an adolescent what to do with those who are the cowardice. That's what I call the people who don't have the capacity to handle themselves like God and Jesus taught me, which is why I did learn about free will, all the time. As a teenager, I knew exactly where the free will stuff ended up, and today I still know. It's just a little bit more expanded, and it's unfortunate business for the people who don't go and have awesome mental health professionals who can get them out of self-loathing and this shit inside, which is horrible. Yeah, so really sad when you have hell in your body. Luckily, some people, they armor themselves shut in so that their body doesn't feel excruciatingly painful, and that's where you find the 7 to 14 charming, grandiose. So again, they only fool the people who want their story, and they're not fooling anyone. In fact, those same people say human goodness doesn't exist. You're fake. No kindness. What are you doing? You don't want to shame people. How dare you? Oh, they'll look at people like me. I'll look back. I'll be like, wow, yeah, we have different opinions. Nice. I like your facade. And anything going on in there by any chance? No, I won't do that. But I'll just know that they're a facade. And I don't do facades like I told my friend. So I'm going to bring in my friend. As I told you, he's not even one of the worst off, but he was doing the fucking drinking business. He ended up telling me about drugs. I'm like, that's not cool. It's not good for you. And luckily, like I said, he didn't have the opportunity to keep doing it. So he ends up having a serious breakup after 14 years and of girlfriend stuff. Then his friend's not calling him to come out. He tells me that my friend's not doing well, and I'm like, why aren't you calling him? You're his best friend. No, he doesn't want to come out. I said, are you sure? He said, give me his number. I didn't have his number anymore. I call my friend. My friend starts coming out with us immediately. But it's when I see them together the first night at the club that I realize why his BFFF of all times, his only BFFF, didn't call him. And that's when I say, wow, am I still in, like, I don't know, who are these people? So you should understand healthy self-worth human beings, women, men, we don't go out to entertain ourselves with the fucking drinking or drugging business. We go out to cherish our relationships. And people that say, you're weird. No, not really. I'm a healthy self-worth human being. So I enjoy that essence of the adolescent. Yeah, essential spark is mine. My name's Maria. Social engagement, true relationships, heart to heart. Novelty always, expanding my intellect all the time, not with stupid narrow states of consciousness. And then I also do have creativity to the point of where I don't want to be around negative people. So this is what a brain that is. And if you're following, great, come on back, because I know you're going to have a good time here. I know that sometimes I go out, I'm like, wow, okay, I really need to go and learn some more from those smart people online. I have courses, I have channels I follow, amazing human beings out there doing great shit, and they're entrepreneurs, successful ones, and they have enriching lives in here. So you'll know when people are enriching, because they're going to be. So I'm out, I'm having a good time, and I'm around people that apparently are out to. Oh, this one's funny. When you see women fighting over men who have girlfriends and they're not even polyamory, they're monogamous. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I was like, where am I? Oh, well, I'm dancing. It's okay. They're all going to have fun. And when people say, you can't be friends with her because she's his lover, you're his lover too. And no, you don't tell me who to be friends with. You can go be friends with whoever you want to be. I'm not doing it. We don't have to be friends, though. I understand. I won't be telling her what we're doing, but you can't tell me who to be friends with. That's not going to happen. And that's how it works when women want to tell you what to do with your life. So yeah, empowered people, we just notice things. And then I got older and I got attachment trauma informed. So all those people that were acting like buffoons, they all could use good therapy. I've told every single one of them that I do know, why are you telling me about trauma all the time? You're boring me. I want to go do other stuff. You're getting older, you know this, right? This is not going to help you any. Okay. So back to my story so we can conclude. My friend, he comes out, and him and his BFFF are basically like two little roosters in the middle of women who don't even want them. They want the other quote-unquote hot guys. They're not hot. I mean, they're handsome. I could tell what they were doing by the second time I saw them. I was like, wow, they get pairs. And then I realized why one of them stopped messaging me. It's because I was not interested in that way. I was thinking I was building a friendship, but go figure. So anyways, my friend and I, long story short, they end up going against the advice that I gave them, which was you need to heal. You're still healing. And they lied to me, and they hide something from me. And they hide something that is ridiculous to hide from a friend. Because if you're fucking someone, I don't want to fuck you. And even if I did, I'm not jealous. You see, I'm a polyamory person, not to mention that I'm just not a jealous person, even as a monogamous person. So there's a lot of different equations that come into the mind of a healthy self-worth human being when human being that you hang out with lies and lies and lies. So I learned everything from my friend. This was my second round. My first round was a teenage boyfriend. My second round was him. By the time I'm done with him and us, I'm like, okay, I got it. And so that's why twin flames, they don't surprise you, because by the time you get going with that, you're going to be mastering your mental, emotional, and physical stuff. And really, you're going to know what's happening. So if you're a mystic and you're empowered, then you're going to know what I'm talking about. And I was trying to share some stories just to say, yeah, sciences doesn't dismantle or disprove God for me or free will or anything of what I learned as a basic person with Jesus. What I learned was that there's no devil or demon owning anyone. Nope. Patrick McNamara, he informs me of the people that have nightmares. And then I know from good trauma experts why people date people who don't treat them well, and then why they don't know how to tell people the truth. It's the same fear that I learned about as a teenager. And it's a cowardice, though, that's unfortunate, that allows you to know that when people do this, sure, it's not devil again. You can play the victim, blame. What are you? Which one am I? Am I your super? Don't put me on a pedestal. You can make me out to be a super villain. I'm not one, but hey, I'm not going to be too sad when you disengage from talking to me because you make up stories and you don't even have the capacity to tell me in my face. So my friend, this is the part that I went and said, you didn't have the capacity to tell me this. Why? I'm your friend. Don't you think I want you to be happy? So, did you think that I would be upset that you're having a good time with another person? This doesn't make sense. What are friends for? So, this is why my friend, once I saw a couple of things, I said, I'm not talking to you anymore. And that was it. And then when he was in the shithole, I had my hunches as a mystic already. No, I knew. And then I got confirmation because he came around, and that was the moment of truth where I didn't say no, because that's not what I learned from God or Jesus. And I was just beginning with my clairs. But I knew also that my friend had no one, and he had finished in a most unfortunate business situation, and that would have just been cruel, unnecessarily cruel. Compassion is this, it's not something special if you ask me. It's a story that I tell, one of the many that I have, but I did what is the right thing. The right thing is to be a human. The right thing is to not make up bullshit stories about humans, and the fact that people still make up stories, well, they can keep using the word God and Jesus. I'm going to know there is no demon in the brain of anyone. There's a unfortunate brain that's trying to heal from trauma, and the host of that brain, meaning the person, doesn't have the will to want to heal. And they might have some story in or more. So practitioners who care at this point in our lovely era, they are coming together. The smart ones, the ones who know, the ones who don't have, like me, they know that it's not some big whoop to do. I mean, some people, we begin with whole selves, luckily, right here. And we have Jesus and God and beautiful stories that we can share. Other people, they have other stories. They say, I got earned secure attachment. I walked myself out of, trauma, and they will tell you about their butterfly transformation, which is excruciatingly painful, getting out of hell, but they won't be whining about it. They'll be talking to you about it. They'll be telling you how amazing it is to be healing. They won't be romanticizing it or demonizing. So we have different groups. We have people who are whole selves and who are coming together with this and this. Some are mystics and some are not. And the ones who continue with this, they don't represent anything except for what we already will have seen. So like my friend, he was not the only one who did things that made me know I was being unseen, unheard, unsoothed. My friend, what he did was he didn't give a shit about my emotional plane. That's the part that he still to this day doesn't understand. When he repeats to me the story, he repeats it with what he understood. And what he understood was that I stopped talking to him for one of a ride, because I don't drive, for one moment of when he didn't come pick me up. And I said, you didn't hear what I said to you on those days when we talked. You didn't hear a word that I said to you. And that's when I still didn't know about how the ears of a person who doesn't hear you work. So when somebody is assuming that they know everything about you, which is the left mode, that's why they don't hear what you're saying the way you're saying it. So my friend, he has not a prefrontal cortex that says Maria is her own differentiated self. No, my friend has an assumption in his brain, and his assumption leads him to this day to think that I didn't speak to him for this one ride, even though I explained to him exactly what it was. We talked 2 days before we were back on board with being friends. And again, I love my friend to death, but he's the perfect example of how people who are not whole selves work. So they don't hear what you tell them, and you will know it because when they repeat it back to you, they won't repeat it. It's called they don't know mindful listening. And actually, I had learned about listening from this lovely therapist, Carl Rogers, in his book, Becoming a Person. And that was in the absence of, again, updated attachment trauma information. So again, when someone is an expanding piece of consciousness, is how I'm going to put it to you, you'll know. They'll be able to repeat to you what you shared with them from the essence of you. And that's because they're listening to you from their own open heart and open mind, not assuming. And when someone is instead assuming, like my friend, what I know is that they are not resonating with me. I'm still going to trust and expand with them, but they don't know my heart because they don't know how I felt once again, but they don't even know how they are within their own self because they never welcomed all of those disowned parts of self. They didn't work on differentiation of the self and saying, I'm a person, Maria's another. I have a way that I live and feel. She has a way that she lives and feels. So they are not doing mindful awareness, mindful listening. They're not regulating their nervous system. They're not even caring to open their heart to hear a person while silencing the left. Again, no, they're making their own assumptions based on their own past and their own subjective experience, which is FYI, why there's a difference. If you're a whole self, that will also mean, though, if you're differentiated, when I come in and I hear you, I'm not applying Maria. I'm going to be present because I'm not low self-esteem, curious, open, accepting, loving. I'm going to tune to you, and I know how to tune to myself. I'm going to resonate with you. I'm going to trust. So whenever I'm in any circumstance, I'm in it having a good time. And in fact, I am not able to notice things. I try to gauge, but I will not be trying too hard to gauge a situation every time. What I can tell you is I know that I won't be gauging anyone who's a facade as anything more than who they are presenting themselves to be. And so I won't notice anything unless I find out eventually. Then I know we got an insecure, not a devil. No, we got a person. So my friend, he, for example, in the different situations that we were in, I won't even go all the way through, but so many stories I could tell you. I'm going to say is gossip to me and anyone who is a facade is not evil. That's not evil. It's human suffering. And that's why Michael Stone's scales withstand. So any unkind business didn't change anything from where I began, again, as a very straightforward, simple teen to now 44-year-old woman. And when I meet those who don't know how to speak, they usually, in fact, don't speak. Or if they speak, they don't repeat the same things that you said, so you'll know. And professionals, you'll know the ones who are self-aware, accountable, and regulating, because they'll be looking to support you with yoga, mindfulness, spiritual practices, the mental health stuff. They'll be looking to be well-rounded. A whole self will love to maximize who they are, maximize who you are. So we are going to expand each other consciously, and we're going to welcome always mysticism, conversations with spirituality, sciences, and that's what we do here. So welcome aboard anybody who's going to return. Again, nobody's perfect and none of us know everything, and there's plenty of those who pick at words. I'm not a words person. I have to use words, but I'm a feeling first, and then I use words however they come forth, and that's another thing. So we don't go and say, oh, you used it this way. That's for the people who are doing facade stuff, because the left mode is that picky about words. When you have a left and right that are working together, they're not picky. They allow themselves to sit within the context. They're having a good time. They're just, here to be here. And the benefit of mindfulness and the self-help that I support is that. It's the next step. It's when you have an ease and or a desire to grow more comfortable with the depths of the emotional plane that you have when dealing with unknowns, uncertainties, unwanteds from within you, while going with the flow. It's to be yourself. And so when I first started with being yourself, I didn't realize why people didn't want to. Now I know. So it's once you're ready to be yourself that you're going to be curious, intrigued, and that you are, again, going to have a benefit from all of that, which is spiritual, mindful, and yoga. Oh, twin flame and all that stuff isn't going to be anything negative if you take your own mental health seriously, because you're going to take yourself seriously and you're going to take love seriously. And the sad part about any of those who are on that bandwagon really is that they don't get to enjoy their lifetime with expanding consciousness as a mystic. So if you're a mystic and you do want to enjoy it, come on over, because we navigate the plane of the mind's eye completely different. I have so many fun stories. My friend is only one of the many that I got to learn from. My oversoul, they all taught me everything that I know about myself, not them. Themselves, I know who they are too. So you have those who are this, okay? We have that. I have some who are this, okay? So I got this. You got this too, right? And then we have some who are this, and they also have this. They can be also like this. Let me make sure to organize it, because then we got this. And so essentially you're going to have the facade, So you got a facade of a mystic, but you got a superhero, supervillain cape. You're going to notice that by how they read and do channeling, all that. Oh, if they blame Lucifer for stuff, you also know that, and then they go gossip. So they have a group. So they like to have groups. So that's where we have, those are the 4D mystics, if you really must, or 3D, 4D. They navigate the bandwidth differently. Like I said, this is not something we're going to be too busy with. We navigate the ascension energies this way. They navigate the ascension energies with something different. And, well, we'll be back with more. Thanks for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe, and have a great one.